The clock doesn't stop during when in the cities, and of course, that's a game mechanic to really urge you on, you know, to get your next journey sorted out. Anyways, our next leg was another short trip in a car. I bounded in, eager to get started. We hired the same driver as before. "You two," she exclaimed. "Get in." Oh no! It's the same speed demon that we hired in Paris. This can't be good. Let's converse. Let's talk about Copenhagen. Do you know anything, Mr. Fogg? The Danish do not like the royal family. Most of them are mad. Okay. My friend had a wonderful time aboard the Baltic ferry from Stockholm to Warsaw. Okay. So if I can go from Copenhagen to Stockholm, or from Copenhagen to Warsaw, or Berlin to Warsaw, or something. Perhaps we'll get towards the line, the Trans-Siberian. That's the one I want, but you might not be able to afford the tickets. As we departed Amsterdam for Denmark, I begged Monsieur Fogg to allow me a turn at the wheel. He looked to our driver, who smiled, and happily moved to one side. The wheel beneath my hands was like nothing I have experienced before. Almost an electrical sensation, as though thunderstorms rippled inside the wood itself. The mechanism of the car was quickly grasped. The first lever produced forward movement. The sideways levers controlled our gearing and hence rate of power. The wheel, of course, was to be turned rapidly at all times to release steam into the pistons. Steering, who needs that? We made good time, though at the end of the day my palms were scorched and red hot. Now I know why drivers wear gloves. So you know, things are going forward. Wait. Artificer expedition rumored for North Pole. So you know, so it's still up there if you want to go the same adventure again. There's another adventure I'm trying to fish for though in the newspaper. Sometimes you have to unlock things by reading the newspaper. They're not always available. 1 second. Anyways, we made good progress in the car. Toot, my friends, toot! Finally, we came upon sight of tiled roofs, the harbor, and the smell of herring. We had arrived in Copenhagen. We are arriving very late, though. Yeah. We have to visit the market. Let's spend the night. Copenhagen had spilled out of its old fortifications in the last few years. New homes were built overlooking the gleaming lakes, and the glacis all flattened to provide foundations for new development. We had a few hours to spare. Where do we go? Amalienborg or the market? Where do we sightsee, folks? I have no idea what the either options do. Which site sounds the more alluring? Just trying to see if any of you are here and awake. You want to see the palace, Monet? Okay. So we paid a visit to the Amalienborg Palace, the winter home of the Danish royal family. We were stopped at the courtyard gate by a pair of guards in full livery. What business do you have here in the palace? Let's see. We are on important business from the British Empire. Nah, purely sightseeing. I don't dare go do the other one. Purely sightseeing, I replied cheerfully. Sightseers are not welcome in King Christian IX's private residence, the guard replied. We strolled away, passing a hooded woman in the plaza outside, who dropped something that clattered to the ground. She froze. Uh-oh. I stooped to pick up whatever it was, and handed it back to the woman's trembling fingers. "Thank you," she croaked, then slid the canister back under her cloak. We were just across the narrow bridge in the old town when we heard an explosion, and looked back to see a tall column of black smoke rising from the direction of the palace. Smoke, but it seemed no flames. As I said, my friends, a town of new developments, each more alarming than the last. So I think we just helped a bomber. Okay, let's explore first. Then head for the market. Okay, so we can travel to Stockholm. I took a few hours to explore, investigating the various options of how we might continue the journey. That's fine. Market, please, because I have the wine that costs a fortune here. Money. Drinking horn. In Bucharest. We're not heading for Bucharest. Minsk. We might be heading for Minsk. Still, I want to buy everything. Probably worth more in another town anyways. Plan. It's already too late for this journey. The Hurjenfjord departs tomorrow at 11. But I mean, from there we can go to Warsaw and onwards. And here we have to go through Munich and Vienna. I think we'll go to Stockholm next. Airship, it'll be faster, obviously. Arrives Monday. It'll take 2 days to get there. This will take 1 day. Then I have to find a way from Berlin. And I think we'll head north to Stockholm. And see if we can find a way from Stockholm east towards... I'm not sure where the Trans-Siberian starts. Probably starts in Moscow. Anyways, that was tomorrow. Nothing else we can do today at all. I could plan for the number of suitcases. 2 suitcases. We'll be fine. His health will go down significantly though. But that's a risk. We'll pass the night in Copenhagen. With what remained of the day, I helped the kitchen staff to clean, earning £112. Later I returned to my room in the time to see someone leaving. Uh-oh. I called to them, but without turning they began to run. I gave chase, but although I am a healthy man of relatively few years and capable in a pinch of some exertion, this mysterious character was fleeter yet. And as I turned a corner, they had vanished into thin air. Show yourself, I demanded, but no one materialized. I returned to the room, but was relieved to find nothing from our belongings. Appeared to be missing. We had been lucky. This time at least. Your funds have gone up by a fair amount. Oh? So they paid me for helping them bomb the castle, apparently. Seems good to me. Okay, let's head over to Stockholm. Embark on the Hurjenfjord. The ferry from Copenhagen left promptly, but never accelerated to much of a convincing top speed. I could see Monsieur Fogg's impatience from the way he lifted his eyes from his ledger every few minutes. It's fine, Mr. Fogg. Let's check the newspaper. Yeah, that's fine, we already know about this. We already know we're going around the world, we're trying. The day dragged along. Never one to leave a problem untackled or a collar unstarched. I went to see the captain. to inquire whether any bursts of speed were possible. But to my surprise, I found the bridge deserted. The controls were being operated and the boat steered by a series of straps and pulleys that fed into a large black box at the far end of the room. Curious, I opened the box to reveal a strange huddle machine made of slowly spinning wheels and cogs. Ropes fed in through holes punched in its side and wrapped around different hooks and rods. At the very center of the device was a brass globe with a stylus on its surface. Uh-oh. I peered closer, let's take a chance here, and saw the surface of the globe was etched with grooves. They ran parallel, then diverged. Shipping lines, and the stylus was tracing one, thus guiding us towards our destination. I think we can change our destination here in some fashion. I don't think I dare though. I saw no way to change the speed, however, so I closed the box before anything was broken. It seemed the boat had a far better idea of what it was doing than I. I don't know where we would have ended up, probably Helsinki. The ferry's stately progress continued until we reached the coast of Sweden. I expected to see the crew emerge and make themselves busy, but nothing happened. It seemed our boat was quite deserted. Still, we docked perfectly. Whatever controlled the boat, it was clearly extremely precise. Okay, Stockholm it is. Let's head for the market. Caribbean timetable. Oh, the Ushanka, we want that. Caribbean timetable, sure. Perfume dollars, sure. Nothing is valuable here. We learn about a whole new bits of travel. Yeah, the Caribbean routes. Depart, I want to see the Baltic ferry to Warsaw. Yeah, let's go with that one now. Fine. Yeah, it departs almost immediately. Let's go. We could have explored Stockholm and maybe had an adventure. Most likely connecting over to Helsinki or something, but that's fine. We left Stockholm promptly and without fuss. Fine. Converse. Talk about Warsaw. Nothing to say. Warsaw to Minsk. Minsk to Moscow. Moscow to Ekaterinburg. Kinda already know all these connections. Vladivostok. Vladivostok to Yokohama. To Ussurisk. Well, he talked about some routes down in India and over in America. They don't really help us right away. That's the route we took last time, or the first time, so... Let's see if we can find a somewhat different route. The ferry left Stockholm on its mighty mighty buildings behind, and took off in the quiet water. I passed the time on deck. In conversation. Hoping to find options for our next journey, learning from a cheerful Greek ragamuffin that great discoveries were being made at the Artificers University in Alexandria. We were there yesterday, at that museum anyways. And there was one more curious incident that day. I visited our cabin at one point to find it unlocked. Remember the intruder I had seen once previously and chased away? I immediately checked our bags to discover to my surprise that we were in fact one possession richer. Someone had dropped, or slipped, a silver-plated cigarette case in our bag. I turned it over with interest, finding an inscription at once on one side, GH, but it was not clear what it might mean. By nightfall, we reached the coastline at Gdansk and transferred to our little carriage that trundled us the last few miles into Warsaw. Okay, Warsaw is unfortunately closed. And let's plan. I want to head Minsk, the Belarus Express. I think we'll just go directly to Moscow. Yeah. We don't want to lose time. 300 tomorrow at 3 PM, okay. 2 suitcases only. So we have time. 3 PM, right? Yeah. I want to go the Trans-Siberian this time, if I can. So we'll spend the night at the hotel. We walked the streets of Warsaw, feeling the air of a different continent all around. In less than 2 generations, the Tsars had made this little outpost all their own. Oh my. But there were the signs of dissent on every corner. For on every building project in the city, there were glued pamphlets declaring the Russians to be the dogs, fiends, and Philistines. 1872, yeah, that would make sense, really. We walked further, however, and saw no disturbances. It seems all the revolutionary types have been... That's quite the different opinion. Placated by prosperity. In fact, our hostelier told us later that the pamphlets themselves are produced by machines, buried by the rebels during the Troubles. No one has yet found them to switch them off. Okay. Interesting. I don't think I'm going to bother exploring here. Just going to wait for the market to open in a few moments. And reduce our number of boxes to 2 if I can. Indian shipping table, vodka, a stopwatch in Minsk, Ekaterinburg, that might be on our way. We're not going to go to Bucharest, sell that. Sell the apples, that's fine. I won't need the carriages left anymore, so I can sell that. Colombo. Don't think we're going to go to Colombo. I don't know if we're going to go through the Caribbean. Fine. Sell the perfume oils and the seasickness tablets. There we go. Be fine. And let's depart. For Moscow. Embark. The Belarus Express. We clambered aboard the train. Monsieur Fogg settled in a far corner like a dusty old uncle, and I went to sit next to him, ready to attend to his wishes. He had none, of course, but to be left alone with his thoughts, whatever they were. So we rode in silence, a comfortable silence nonetheless. Let's check the newspaper again. Tourist seen persuading bomber to blow himself up outside Royal Palace. Oh no! So that guy dropped the bomb and we returned the bomb to them and they did a suicide bombing. Oh no! Oof. Oof. Oh well, that's grim. We arrived at Minsk after nightfall and watched as people hurried from the train into the dark and cold streets. Monsieur Fogg held his teacup close and I huddled beneath a blanket. At least for tonight, we were safe. Oh, I didn't even have time to click anything. Fine, groom Mr. Fogg. His health is going down a bit. Morning came, and we were still crossing the Russian countryside, the train moving on its slow and steady way. I spent the time waiting on my master's needs and pressing his shirts, and he perked up rapidly. Finally, we pulled into the stone edifice that was a Moscow station and disembarked. We are arriving very late, right? 4 p.m. Market. The Oshanka would sell well here. We might go through Colombo, actually. Cold climate sounds good. Oil paints in Baku. I have no idea what we'll need. Okay, let's go. Vladivostok. 3,000. Departs in 4 days. Oh, that's quite the journey. Negotiate. They can depart. Oof, we can't afford this. It's Wednesday. We're gonna be stuck here for a bit. Okay, Warnet. Have a good night. Yeah, we're gonna sleep. It's now 3 days away. Moscow was not a comfortable city for a Frenchman. A local composer had just written a piece people were calling the 1812 Overture, commemorating the Russian victory over Napoleon's invading Grande Armée in that fateful year. Patriotic passions were at a fever pitch. So I stayed very sensibly indoors. Alas, my friends, my solitude was quickly interrupted by an officious rap on the door. 2 men in clothes so plain that they were most certainly police officers invited themselves in. Uh-oh. I had heard of the Okranka, the newly formed secret police which investigated revolutionaries and malcontents. My luck, it seemed, had deserted me, so I resolved to make my own. They asked me my name and purpose, and I answered deferentially, keeping to the truth and not raising my eyes from the floor. They seemed skeptical about our journey, which I protested. In the strongest of terms, it made little effect upon them, presumably because I was a servant and thus of little account in Tsarist society. At length they nodded. One removed a curious monocle and placed it in his pockets. It seems you are truthful. Crazy, but truthful. Why you traveled through Russia, we do not understand. Perhaps you are heading for Vladivostok. Perhaps you have some advice for us. Perhaps we do, the policeman agreed. Vladivostok is closed to all but military personnel. If you were thinking of going that way, choose again. Okay. They proceeded to rummage through our cases, tossing our possessions in all directions, but evidently finding nothing of interest. Do not stay in Moscow too long. Russian air does not suit Frenchmen. I took their warning to heart and quite looked forward to departing the Tsarist capital. Dearie me. So you're telling me I shouldn't go all the way to Vladivostok. Let's stop at Karimskaya. There are some routes down to Pyongyang from there. Yeah, let's do that one instead then. 3 days at 11 a.m. That would cost too much, right? Yeah. I don't want to spend money on that. Instead, let's explore. I'm not going to find any new paths. I'm fairly certain of that. I can visit the bank. I can ask for money tomorrow. Let's regard the manager. It is Thursday. Yeah, Tuesday is way too late. £1,000 tomorrow. That'll do. Okay, Zarul, we had a full story already. We started the stream with a trip around the North Pole. And we finished the whole journey in like 45 days or something. We're on our third trip now. We have reached Moscow. Anyways, there we go. Then we're gonna fetch some money tomorrow, and then we're gonna be off the day after. Well, I suppose we can speed up the planning. Yeah, let's go to Karimskaya. Negotiate for a 2-day journey instead. Yeah. 2 days. It's fine, Kebzero. If you're really interested in the story time, you have it on the VOD. But you're here now. You're gonna get much of this story. Yeah, we're gonna spend the night here in Moscow. And then we're gonna visit the bank. Let's see, let's go to the hotelier because I want to make some more monies. Money is always useful. The bank opens at 11. Let's speed up the clock a little bit in small increments. There we go. Fetch our monies. Okay, the train leaves tomorrow at what time? 11 AM, okay. It's gonna take a lot of health though. Minus 56. Even the North Pole journey was only like minus 70. Anyways, hotel. I hope this is gonna be good. I mean, you are gonna be crossing all of Siberia in a decent amount of time. And let's again go and polish some shoes, make some money. That night I woke. Something was fluttering in the darkness of my room, flapping at the end of my bed. A ghost! I shrank back against my coverlet as the pale shape resolved into something small and square. Finally, I dared to look more closely, only to find my ghost was, in fact, a sheet of paper. The header ran, Hotel Ritz Paris. The message itself, I should not write, but I could not resist. Hopefully you will not find this at all. Your loyalty gives me hope. Do not lose heart. Huh. At the foot of the note was inked a tiny curved shape, perhaps a flower petal. My eyes turned to the window, hanging upon, letting in as it did a sliver of breeze. Had this note been delivered that way? But by whom? A most curious puzzle. Anyways, it's time to depart. Which means I will not be doing the storyline that's actually teasing me to do, but so be it. Trans-Siberian Express, here we go. Oh, I have 3. Hire 3, that's fine. Let's go.